who doesn't love classic Limp Bizkit? They're awesome. He just started doing weird shit. I can't stress enough how bad this set was.
To me, it seemed like a bit of a chirp at Bring Me the Horizon. It came across like a chirp.
And everyone was so confused. Everyone was like, what the fuck is going on?
Like that was the night that I became a full-on Ollie Sykes, Bring the Horizon fan. I'm like, you know what? That was sick.
They just showed up, burned the whole place down. Like they just set the whole crowd on fire. We've been on this train of live performances that we've been wanting to point out and talk about. We're not really going to be able to show too much of this one because of other reasons. Like it wasn't filmed that well. It's not going to come across in any of the videos that you can see online. But we lived it. We were there for this. This is a bit of a story. Actually, we're going to go down here. It involves two actually good bands, honestly, in their own right. Limp Bizkit, which is an amazing band. Like they're obviously like one of the best new metal bands of the '90s and the early 2000s. This, who doesn't love classic Limp Bizkit? They're awesome. We were absolutely stoked to see Limp Bizkit at Rockfest when this happened. Everyone was. This was like, one of the highlights, are supposed to be one of the highlights of the weekend at this festival. And then right after them, which they're on the main stage, by the way. So for those of you that have never been to festivals before, or you don't know how some of them work, it's multiple stages. So you'll have like the main stage usually in one big open area, and then you might have 2 or 3 stages in one place or another, like somewhere to the right, somewhere to the left, wherever it is. Maybe it's 3 stages, maybe it's 4. You have like the big attraction type performances on the main stage, and then you have some of the ones that maybe more niche, go towards the other sides, and kind of what they do is in between sets they'll just switch to a different stage, right? Like the main stage will have a performance, and then the side stage will have a performance, and then vice versa, and it just keeps kind of going back and forth that way. So what happened was it was Limp Bizkit on the main stage. This was just the Sunday night, right? Like this was the second day.
It was the last day, yeah.
It was the last day. So again, everyone's getting pretty hyped, ready for this. And they come on the main stage, and immediately, like I think they started out good. They still sounded good. Like they did do some good.
They started with like their big hits for the most part, I think.
But they didn't do many. I don't remember exactly.
They didn't do a lot of them. They did like 2 or 3 of their big hits.
I think they did Nookie. I think they did Nookie, and I think they did My Generation, maybe. And that was really good. And it got everyone going. But then it's like they stopped. Like right away they stopped. Like it was like 2 songs, and then he did a lot of talking. Like
he did a lot of talking, a lot of walking around on stage. At one point, he ended up asking the crowd, like, "What should we play?" It was like in the middle of their set. He's like, "Oh, what should we play?" And like he heard someone yell something from the song, and they played some random cover song. Mm-hmm. And it was like that for like most of the show. It was really bizarre. Well, it was boring.
It got really fucked up because I think it was like halfway. They had an hour set. I think it might have even been an hour and a half. Like it was a long set that they had to fill. I think it might have been an hour. And again, like within 15 minutes of their set, they had gotten their couple songs out of the way, and then it was just like a lot of bullshit. And it was him talking a lot, and then halfway through the set as well, it was a dull. Like everyone was like, "What was going on?" Like at first, everyone was kind of like okay with it because they thought, "Oh, he's interacting with the crowd," and they're just getting set up to hype us up for what they're the rest of their stuff, because there were so many other things that they could have played that everyone was ready for, but they weren't. And then it just kind of just took off from, like, he just started doing weird shit. They started doing Gangnam Style. I remember they started playing Gangnam Style over the PA, like just like playing it.
Like that perfectly explains the aura of the set. And like, again, I'm not going to play the whole thing here, and we don't want to play any of it really because we don't want to get copyrighted for bashing them, But we do have a little clip from that where I guess it's the main guitarist for Limp Bizkit, who, like, I remember it being more of a chirp, and maybe I just got to find, maybe it was earlier in the set, but he sort of, to me, it seemed like a bit of a chirp at Bring Me the Horizon. It came across like a chirp.
Yeah, so Bring Me the Horizon was going to come on after them. They were scheduled to come on the stage just beside them. And again, I guess while just walking around, he wasn't even just Bring Me the Horizon. He talked shit about a few other bands that were there as well, as I recall it. But again, he was just a lot of conjecture, not playing their music at all. And
like his whole shtick is being a dick, obviously.
I guess, right? But they also started getting booed, right? Like the whole crowd was booing by the end of it because they weren't playing anything. They were doing Gangnam. He was dancing around like an idiot just to Gangnam Style, and everyone was so confused. Everyone was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like,
And there's a period of time just before the clip that we're gonna play. There's like a period of time where like 3 or 4 minutes where he's literally just like kneeling down on the stage and just like kind of talking and like, yeah, it was just super lame. And like, it's a festival. It's finally dark out. It's cooling down. Everyone's exhausted from the heat from the day, and like you're expecting them to pick up your energy for you, and it's just not. Everyone's just starting to drowse off.
yeah, it got really weird. Everyone it was extremely disappointing. It's one of the most disappointing sets I've ever seen in my life.
The only worst set we ever saw was Linkin Park, but we'll cover that another time.
No one wants to hear that, but it's true.
We'll cover that another time.
It was only 95 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Fucking Bring Me the Horizon is gonna come on. They're gonna come on stage. You know their names from Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Johnny Depp is responsible for the name of Bring Me the Horizon.
Fact.
It's a fact. You guys are fucking lame. Ready?
There you go. It's pause there. That's all we need to hear.
Yeah.
That's all we need to play from that. Like you get the point there. He just seems like he's coming across like a dick. I don't know who this guy is, but
Yeah. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" But again, like, I guess it's one thing to talk a whole bunch of shit, but then again, I can't stress enough how bad this set was.
yeah, if they
From them.
killed it, then maybe whatever. It's Limp Bizkit's shtick to do so.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
if you're
like
sucking yourself, then
it's
you can't.
competitive or whatever, and like a little rubbing or whatever. It's kind of metal to do that in a way, right? Like it'd be metal as fuck if you were like, those people fucking suck, and then just like do some epic shit or whatever to
Right.
back it up or whatever. But that's not what happened. It was the complete opposite. It was even to this point, like even before they had got to this point, like it was their show was falling apart. Like, and I think that's kind of where they're at. I think that's why he was talking shit because they're probably panicking, realizing how bad their set is at this point. And it only got worse from here. Again, they stopped playing music. They stopped playing their music at some point through this, like towards the end of their show, and they were just playing like other shit that wasn't even their songs and just dancing. They weren't playing. They were just on stage to other people's music, and it was fucked up. It was so fucked up.
So, anyways, that's the chirp. The
Yeah.
show finishes. It sucks. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone shifts right over to the next stage for Bring Me the Horizon.
Hmm.
Literally, I gotta wait like 10, 15 minutes from the start. So then, let's just show how insane Bring Me the Horizon entry is.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like by comparison, you know what I mean? Like, this is what happened. So, that set from Limp Bizkit happened where they talked a whole bunch of shit. It was lame as hell. It killed the energy of the whole crowd, essentially. Everyone was bummed because everyone wanted a great set from Limp Bizkit and no one got it. So, everyone's super bummed. And again, they just talked a whole bunch of shit about Bring Me the Horizon. Everyone moves over to this stage. Like, everyone just walked over, and that was their intro. That was the intro to their fucking set, which was like it immediately went from like the whole crowd went from just the slow place to like shot right the fuck up, and it was one of the best it was the best show of the whole, easily of that night, but probably the whole show,
Probably.
like, festival
Yeah.
period. I remember this show like it was yesterday. Like I remember watching this being so fucking hype. It was the biggest fuck you to Limp Bizkit after. Like they didn't say a goddamn word about Limp Bizkit. They just showed up, burned the whole place down. Like they just set the whole crowd on fire.
And I mean, there's more to it. I don't want to get too much into it, but like, Ollie himself, if you know his backstory and stuff, like he's been through a lot, whatever, and like it's just such a bullying thing to talk shit about him, I think. And then he just comes out and just shows him up, just like professionally, just stays professional, just does a good set and shows him up in that way. Just completely shuts him up. I don't know. Like that was the night that I became a full-on Ollie Sykes, Bring the Horizon fan. I'm like, you know what? That was sick.
I mean,
If anyone watched this has time, go look up like their full set from Amnesia Rockfest.
Yeah.
And like Shadow Moses was amazing. Sleepwalking, amazing, obviously. Like, yeah, so many good songs.
there's not much to react to here. Again, the sound quality is not going to come across the same way as it did. They were really, really good. Like they sounded amazing. The fireworks, the pyrotechnics were really good. The show was hype as it could be, and it was a it was one of the best ways to close out a festival. It was so good. So Bring Me the Horizon is
everyone there needed it desperately. You know,
I've seen live shows of Limp Bizkits where they seem to have had a nice set, but the one I remember the most from them was that set, and it was fucking awful. It was one of the worst live sets I've ever seen in my life. And then but the counter to that was Bringing Me the Horizons, which was honestly one of the best. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's one of those things like careful who you talk shit to, because it comes around. So some people would be surprised to hear that some of the other live sets that we've seen, you know, which ones aren't that good and which ones are. Like a good example is Meshuggah. Like we both had negative experiences seeing Meshuggah live, and people will hate hearing that, because I know, like I've talked to a lot of people who love Meshuggah. I love Meshuggah as well, by the way, but we were super hyped to see them live, and we were absolutely disappointed by what we saw. Like we did not get the Meshuggah that we expected. I didn't even know I was hearing Bleed when I was hearing it. Like they were playing Bleed.
It was bad.
I was like, wait. Like it took me like a minute and a half to realize that we were listening to Bleed. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. Now, to be fair, I think it had to do with the sound technicians themselves.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not the band themselves. They obviously know how to play live.
I don't think it necessarily had anything to do with Meshuggah. Who knows, right? Like, who knows? But the point is,
they're kind of responsible, I guess, for making the audio engineers like get it right too, right?
Or being willing to play with audio quality that bad.
They should have just stopped and said, "Hey, look, let's fix this."
They should have stopped it and been like, "Sorry, guys, like we realized we sound like shit." Like they should have known, because they did. It was really bad. POD was also another one. Do you remember POD?
Yeah, all you hear was boop.
POD was, but that was the same stage, and it was the same day as far as I can remember.
So we knew, yeah.
So I think it really was whatever stage that they were on. Whoever was doing the audio engineering for those shows was just fucking it up for everybody. But I remember POD being really bad, like comically bad. It was like you hear like nothing, and you hear boom, boom, boom. It was so bad. And then not only them too, but then it was also Linkin Park. So Linkin Park was another one that, again, people don't want to hear this. Respect to Linkin Park, they were an amazing band, and we had a lot of high expectations to see them live, and they basically got booed off stage at Rockfest. Unfortunately, that was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. Like Linkin Park was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. People don't like to hear that, but it's true. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, this whole story time style, we have more stories where that came from. So let us know. Give it a like, and we'll do more. Otherwise, we're going to rate back to our regular scheduled programming, as promised, with The Ghost Inside. Coming up next. Stay tuned.